Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive. This time, we're diving into the Women's T20 World Cup and a match that had everyone talking, India versus Sri Lanka.
Absolutely. And this wasn't just another match on the schedule. It was a rematch with a lot of history behind it and a lot on the line for both these teams. And you've given us this great match report so we can really dissect all the key moments. And yeah, I'm
Uh,
excited.
Me too, and I think even before the first ball was even bowled, you just knew this one was going to be special. The Asia Cup final rematch,
Right.
where Sri Lanka pulled off that
No, no,
fight.
revenge. Right. It
Revenge.
was right there. But you also have to remember Sri Lanka was coming off two straight losses in the World Cup, so the pressure was definitely on. And then you've got India coming in with some momentum after beating Pakistan, but they needed a big win here to boost that net run rate, which, by the way, for anyone who might not know, is essentially like a tiebreaker in the tournament. So really important stuff.
Right, so both teams with a lot to play for.
Absolutely. And I think the pre-match commentary really showed the different mindsets. Shamari Thapathu, Sri Lanka's captain, she was all about playing fearless cricket, the kind of cricket that won them that Asia Cup. But could they do it again? That was the question.
And on the other side, you had Harmanpreet Kaur for India, back from injury, ready to lead her team. She kept it simple, focus on putting up a big score. No distractions.
Easier said than done, though, from what we were hearing about the pitch. It was not going to be easy to score runs.
So even more pressure then. So we've got the scene set, the toss happens, and India wins it. It elects to bat first.
A bold choice given those pitch conditions, but as we'll see, it definitely paid off. India just put on a batting clinic, finished with a tournament high 172 runs.
Wow, that's a tough target to chase. But before we get into how Sri Lanka responded, I want to break down India's innings a bit more, because it wasn't just about scoring runs. It was strategic.
Yeah, a real display of their skills. We have to start with Smriti Montana. Okay, she starts a little slow, which honestly wasn't surprising on that pitch. But then she just finds another gear, ends up with a half century, 50 runs off 38 balls.
Talk about performing when it matters. That's not just scoring runs, that's sending a message.
It definitely was. And you know what? That innings actually took her past 500 runs in women's T20 World Cups. She's only the third Indian woman to ever do that.
Wow, making history. But India's explosive start didn't end there, did it? I mean, Shefali Verma came out swinging.
She was on fire. 43 runs off 40 balls. She just went after it completely unfazed by the
It
conditions.
was like they just decided the pitch didn't matter. And it wasn't just the openers either, was it?
Not at all. Harmanpreet Kaur being the captain led by example with this incredible knock. 52 runs off just 27 deliveries. Her fastest 50 ever in T20s. Talk about a statement.
They made it look easy. But
Yeah.
considering what we know about that pitch, that was some seriously high-quality batting. You're right about that. It wasn't all perfect for India, though, was it? Yeah. There were definitely some moments, some real turning points where Sri Lanka could have shifted the momentum.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think the biggest one had to be when those two Indian openers, when they were both out so quickly. You could just feel a change in the air, like Sri Lanka was thinking, okay, this is our chance.
You could cut the tension with a knife.
Totally. And that's when Jemima Rodriguez came in and just steadied the ship. Her
Yeah.
16 runs, those were huge. Not just the runs themselves, but how she just swung the momentum back to India.
It's amazing, isn't it? The depth of this Indian batting lineup. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, they've got their stars, but then you have players like Rodriguez coming in and changing the game.
Exactly. And, this match was actually historic. It was the first time ever that three Indian batters scored over 40 runs in a women's T20 international. So, yeah, they're sending a message.
No doubt about it. Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about India's batting, which was phenomenal. But could their bowlers back it up? Let's talk about Sri Lanka's innings. Chasing down 172, that's a tall order.
Honestly, it was always going to be a tough ask. And then losing those early wickets, well, that just made the mountain even higher.
They were on the back foot from the very beginning.
Yep. India's bowlers just did not let up the pressure at all. And Renuka Singh, what a way to start the innings. Gets Vishmi Gunaratne out in the very first over. And we have to talk about that catch by Radha Yadav.
That catch was unbelievable. It's easy to forget sometimes, but those moments of brilliance in the field can be just as important as any wicket.
Oh, absolutely. Those are the moments that can change everything. And speaking of changing the game, Sri Lanka had another setback when Shamari Athapathu, their captain, got out early. Just one run.
Talk about a captain needing to lead from the front. That must have been tough for Sri Lanka to come back from.
It definitely didn't help. Losing your captain that early, especially someone like Athapathu who can just take over a match, that puts a lot of pressure on the rest of the team.
So you've got India's bowlers not letting up at all. It felt like every time Sri Lanka tried something, India had an answer. Just really controlled bowling.
Exactly. They were so disciplined, hitting their lines and lengths, consistently using those conditions to their advantage, and you could tell they had done their homework on these Sri Lankan batters.
And once again, Arundhati Reddy was outstanding. Another three-wicket haul. Another three-fer, as they say. She's been in incredible form this whole tournament.
She's been on fire. And we can't forget about Asha Sapana either. She had a three-wicket haul of her own. I think that just goes to show how dangerous this Indian bowling attack is. It's not just pace or spin, they've got it all. Sri Lanka just had no answers.
It's one thing to have a plan, but to actually execute it like that on the biggest stage,
Yeah.
that's something else. And it's interesting. They were so much better in the field this time out, too. Remember that Pakistan match? There were a few too many, let's just say there were some missed opportunities.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Their fielding against Pakistan was a little uncharacteristically sloppy. I think Sri Lanka might have even been hoping to capitalize on that.
But no chance this time.
Yeah.
So where does this win leave India going forward? They looked incredible today, like a team on a mission.
This wasn't just about net run rate. This was a statement win, I think. It shows they can handle the pressure, they can adapt to different conditions, and they can win in a lot of different ways. And now they've got that final group match against Australia coming up.
Oh man, India versus Australia. Now that's a rivalry.
Huge match. Could decide who tops the group. And if India plays like this again, well, they're going to be tough to beat.
Can't wait for that one. As for Sri Lanka, though, this loss unfortunately means their World Cup is over.
Yeah, it's a disappointing end for them. But, they did show flashes of that fearless cricket, especially in that Asia Cup final. It'll be interesting to see how they use this experience going forward.
They say you learn more from your losses than your wins, right? So there you have it, folks. We've taken a deep dive into this incredible match between India and Sri Lanka. We saw some amazing individual performances, some really interesting tactical battles, and we got a glimpse of just how high the stakes are in this World Cup.
It's been a pleasure breaking it all down with you. The Women's T20 World Cup is always exciting, and this match definitely did not disappoint.
It sure didn't. And for our listeners out there, if you enjoyed this match at all, I highly recommend you check out more of this tournament. There's so many great stories unfolding and history being made every single day.